Hey, it's been a little while since I have popped on YouTube and had any videos, made any videos, done really anything, and there's a good reason why. Back whenever my last video was uploaded, I think I had just found out that I was unexpectedly pregnant with baby number 4, who I am cuddling right now. And I shared in a previous video that after my second one, I struggled with secondary infertility. And so it took a year and a half to get pregnant with our third. And so to say this was a little bit of a surprise, it was definitely a surprise. It was a very welcomed blessing. And we are just so excited about him. He's just the sweetest little thing. But I wanted to take you on a day in the life of our really busy day with a baby, a toddler, and everything else that needs to get done. It seems like I never have enough time, and I feel like I'm always kind of rushing around to get things clean and organized. It's like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos when you have kids. It's not something that comes naturally to me by any means. I am not a naturally clean person. My husband is much cleaner than I am, and you'll kind of see in this video of I like to make a lot of messes, and cleaning them up after is something I have to force myself to do. The joke is that I don't know how to close a cabinet if my life depended on it, because I will leave every single kitchen cabinet open. And so I'm really working on that. And some other really fun and exciting news for our family is that we are about to redo our whole kitchen. And you can kind of see the kitchen here. It is really old, and there's a big wall that's kind of dividing the spaces. And so we're planning on removing that chimney that's in the corner right there. And I actually will have a whole video on our kitchen design plans. I'll share it, I think, next week, so you can look out for that. On this particular day, it was fairly busy because not only did I have the normal house chores, but I also needed to make some sourdough rolls for a work party for my husband. My absolute favorite recipe of all time is from Lisa at Farmhouse on Boone. She has her dinner rolls that are so good, and everybody raves about them and begs me to make them for any event that we have. And so I wanted to make that recipe, and luckily she had recently come out with one for a discard recipe for the dinner rolls, because I needed to make them fast so I can bring them over, and I didn't really have time to let them rise all night, all that stuff. So this one has yeast in it, so I made those. It's a much quicker recipe, which is really nice. And one of my favorite things to do, and a tip I would say, is I love making bread. I think bread is a really easy staple, and especially sourdough bread, because the fermentation time is so much longer that I can mix up a batch and then do other chores while that batch is mixing, because it takes quite a long time in the stand mixer. When the dough has reached its window pane, you just cover it in the bowl, let it ferment all night long, and then the next day you can shape and everything else. But with a yeast recipe, it's a lot faster. You have to watch it a little bit more so it doesn't over ferment, which sourdough doesn't tend to over ferment as easily since it takes longer. On this particular day, I had to do laundry and other things while it was mixing, and then once it was done, I let it rise in the bowl for a few hours before shaping. One thing I think I've realized now that I guess we could consider ourselves having a large family with 4 kids is that it's really all hands on deck. I cannot do everything myself, and I need extra help from the kids, which I know is good for them. Sometimes I feel like it's easier to just do it myself and not ask for help, because I know that it won't be perfect, but it's teaching responsibility. It teaches teamwork and being able to work together as a family. And one thing I've noticed, because all the kids have chores, well, I should say two of the kids have chores, is that my third, who's helping me here, he loves to help. He is just built to be a helper. Nobody asked him to start helping with the dishes, and you can see he's really upset that I took the spoons from him. Or I should say, those are knives. I took the knife from him. But he is just like a born helper. He will go right to the dishwasher and just start emptying it. My husband asked him the other day to just grab a dish for breakfast, and he went and took out all of the plates that we needed for breakfast and laid them out on the countertop so that we could prepare food. And it just was just amazing to me. One, he knew exactly how many plates that we needed, and he's not even two. And so this is just something that I've had to kind of like really understand and try to hone in on our kids, is like how to work hard and how to be good helpers. On this particularly dreary, cold, rainy afternoon, I decided that I was going to make a latte. Now, I also learned this trick from Lisa, and she was making it on her stovetop. She was heating her milk up and then blending it with the immersion blender, and I was like, that is genius. Well, out of my pure laziness and not wanting to heat my milk up, I decided to just put it in a cup and blend it up and see what would happen. And it actually turned into cold foam, and it's absolutely delicious. I use raw milk, but you could add milk and just like a little bit of cream, about 2 tablespoons of cream into it, with a little bit of sweetener of choice, maple syrup, honey, or powdered sugar. And then I put a little vanilla extract. I like to put a little bit of sea salt in it as well. And you could also put cocoa powder in it, or cinnamon, anything like that. I did put collagen peptides in it as well. And then you blend that up until it's really frothy, and you pour it over some strong coffee, and it is so good. It's basically life-changing. It has changed my mornings. I make this every morning at least one time a day, and it is just absolutely delicious. Is anyone else ever extremely surprised by the amount of dishes that one creates during the day? I honestly never understand how this happens. I do the dishes multiple times, and they are clean by the end of the night, and somehow my sink still gets completely full. And I understand we make most of our food from scratch, and so there's just a lot more dishes. And so this is a time my daughter and I just sit and chat while I clean up the dishes and clean up things from the day and lunch, trying to balance that between bedtimes or nap times, because we have a child that naps and the door is very close to the dishwasher, and so we have to plan it so accordingly. It seems kind of silly how much we plan things around nap time, but that is kind of the life you live when you have little babies and toddlers. If all those dishes did not make you feel better about yourself, here is my giant pile of laundry that I need to go through. One thing I think that I struggle with as a homemaker is just the monotonous tasks every day that always have to get done. It's a lot of the same. Everything's different every day, but it's a lot of the same things, and it can be kind of hard and almost overwhelming to think about having to do those same things every day. And one major thing with all these people in this house is laundry. And so we try to stay up on it, folding it every couple days. My husband and I tag team this for sure. He usually is the one that runs the laundry. There's a second load that needs to be done within a day. I'll run that load. And then he will put it out in the family room so that way the kids and I can sort it and go through it and put away our stuff. So the kids are in charge of their own clothes, and then obviously I'm in charge of the little boys' clothes and my husband and I's clothes to fold it all and put it all away. We can do it again the next day if we really wanted to. Right when we finished up the laundry, the rolls were out of the oven and they were so beautiful. And this recipe is so tasty, you have to try it. So my next chore is just to finish cleaning up the kitchen. I feel like my kitchen is not clean until my sink is completely clean. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm scrubbing it all out, trying to clean it up the best that I can. Unfortunately, with an old house and being like on well water, we have really hard water. And so it's almost impossible for our things to look really clean, which I'm excited about with our new kitchen that we're planning, that things might actually look clean for once. It will still have hard water stains, but it just won't be so grimy. The cabinets, we painted the right type of paint so things don't just like stick into them and are impossible to clean. Something that I am really looking forward to. This was an extra laundry day, so I am moving laundry over. I was washing cloth diapers, which I don't do cloth diapers all the time. So not to make it look like I do everything, I do not. I do them like 30% of the time when I'm like, oh, I should really save money in cloth diapers so I don't have to buy so many diapers. So cloth diapering, trying to clean up the laundry room as well, which is kind of like our dump zone. Lastly, I needed to get dinner together and in the oven. And on a day like this where it feels extra busy, I just did a lot of chores, a lot of baking and cleaning. I don't really have a whole lot of energy left to make food. And so I just come up with something super easy. And in this case, this has been a staple in our family lately, is doing a whole roasted chicken and then some type of potato. It could be baking potato or a sweet potato like it is here. But so to make this roast chicken, all you do is you put a chicken on a baking sheet and you drizzle over olive oil. You could also do some melted butter. And then you sprinkle it with Italian seasoning, salt, garlic powder, like a lot of all of that. And then you bake it at 425. I like to do that for the first about 30 minutes. And that kind of gives it this really nice crunchy crust on it. And then I bring the temperature down to about 375, and then I bake it for another about hour until it hits 165 degrees. And this has just been really yummy. Once it comes out of the oven, it's served, and then I let it cool a little bit. I automatically take the bones right out, stick them in my crock pot, and then I make bone broth with it, and it'll just simmer overnight. I do it on high, you can do it on low too, but it just simmers all night long. And then the next day, I will simmer it until about dinner time, then I make soup. And so it's just kind of an easy way to meal prep while everything's already out, the kitchen's already messy, and it's makes life easier, and bone broth is really healthy for you. So that's all I got for today on our little day in the life. I really hope you enjoyed a little sneak peek behind the scenes in our family.